Hello and welcome to Retro Game On 2021, and more specifically another episode of Sunday Quickie. In Sunday Quickie I check out subjects that are cool and what I find interesting at the time, but may not necessitate an entire video with production values and scripting and voiceovers, although like always I do have a light, so there is some sort of, effort going into it I guess, but this is completely unscripted and off the cuff. Apologies for releasing two videos like this in a row. Obviously that was the last video of 2020 and now it's the first video of 2021. But as I've stated in previous videos, I just do these when I find something that I think is cool. There's no particular schedule, even though I do release them on Sundays. Today, we're checking out a dump of an unreleased game. Kinda. My source for this stems from none other than MVG, Modern Vintage Gamer. Late last year, he uploaded a video titled, "I dumped a one-of-a-kind mystery Sega Genesis cartridge." And there's no clickbait in that title, that's exactly what he did. So before I get into the specifics of this, I just want to add that this is not a replacement for his video. I highly recommend checking it out because he goes into depth of how he received the cartridge, how he discovered information about it, and also how he dumped it. I'm more interested in the ROM itself. Refer to my unreleased and or unobtainable video series where I check out unreleased games or games that cost too much, which I then emulate. Usually this would be one of those episodes, but there's not too much to look at. It is interesting, but I don't think it could be a full episode of that. It would be a very short one if it was. So this is the sort of thing that's perfect for Sunday Quickie. So basically one of his viewers had sent in this unreleased cartridge, which basically just says Sega Visitor on it. And I believe he bought this from some sort of estate sale or something to that effect. So just skipping along, opening it up, he does find that it is in fact a prototype board, a development board, definitely not a commercial product. So dumping the ROM, he then finds it's from the developer Technopop, who are known for, among other things, Zero Tolerance, which is a very cool first-person shooter on the Sega Mega Drive, or the Genesis. So this is very cool in itself, and we'll probably get a review one day. But basically, MVG got really excited because he thought that this may be a unreleased sequel to Zero Tolerance, which has been out, which everyone's been looking for quite a long time. Sadly, it wasn't. It was a game called Ship. So I'm skipping along in the storyline here a little bit, but basically Ship was a derivative of Space War. The developer for Technopop, Randall Reese, was the first licensed US-based developer for the Genesis. So basically, Sega commissioned him to make a very basic tech demo, which they then bought off him, and then they sent to all new developers for the Sega Genesis, so they would have some sort of source code starting point. So since the game is called Ship, you may be wondering why it says Visitor on the cartridge. Well, it's pretty much exactly what it looks like. If you go into any sort of corporate headquarters or some sort of company as visitor, usually they give you a sticker which you can slap on you so they know who you are. As a joke, Randall Reese, who basically had several dozen of these, or at least a handful at that point, as a joke, put it on the development cartridge, and it turns out that it fit perfectly. So I should point out that this is not the first time we've come across Ship. It was actually found on a development kit in 2007 and compiled from the source code. So since then, you have been able to download it from the Hidden Palace website, which is a great website, I should add. I've used it for my unreleased and or unobtainable videos in the past. However, MVG did a bit comparison of his cartridge and the one on Hidden Palace, and it turns out they are different. So while the game is the same, it is some sort of different build. And most importantly, this is the first time this has been found on cartridge, so it is a pretty big deal. So, MVG being the absolute bamf he is, he uploaded his version to archive.org. So on here, you can download it for free, and run it offline and run it on any other different device that you may want to. However, on the Internet Archive, or archive.org, they've actually got an inbuilt emulator, which is actually built straight into the browser. So for tourists like me who just want to check it out, this is a very simple one-click solution to have a bit of a play. So as it says, click to begin, and it's using a version of MAME. I'm not exactly sure which one, but it's compatible with, I'm not sure what browsers it's compatible with exactly, but at least Chrome in my case. So we can just go full screen here. And you may have noticed there was a Sega logo that played at the start, which is, what happens in all Mega Drive games I've played at least. And there's also this kind of awesome title art as well. So it took me a little bit of figuring out, see it's looping there. It took me a little bit of figuring out what the controls were. I actually had to Google it. But you can actually push tab and it brings up an input menu. So there you can, obviously there's up to 10 players, just one player in my case, since I'm on my lonesome. But in this case, we can use the arrow keys to move around, which is pretty self-explanatory. And then we got the left control, left alt, and the space button for the 3 Genesis buttons, A, B, C. So we can just escape out of there. Whoops, wrong button. We can tab out of there, I should say. And I also figured out that you can push 1 and that acts as the start button. So we have 1 player, 2 player, as well as an options screen. So we'll just quickly check out the options. And Space War, if you're not aware, is basically just 2 spaceships fighting on one screen. But there is a sun in the middle that is creating a gravity field, which makes it a bit more complex and a bit more reason to play than just your standard Pong derivative. So here we can change the gravity. We can make it weak, strong, off. We'll call it weak. It can be inward or outward. Sun can be visible or invisible. I like to look at my suns, so we'll keep that visible. You can also make it fatal and non-fatal, but where's the fun in that? I'm not really sure what the friction is. We'll just keep that off. Not really. Oh yeah, wrap. So I think that means when it goes from one side of the screen to the other, it will just come out on the other side. But I guess you can make it so you bounce off instead. And there you can choose how many lives you have and I guess that's the respawn, how quick the respawn is. So we'll just push 1 to go back to the menu. And 1 again, and then we'll just go 1 player. And yeah, shoot. And if you fly into the sun, you explode. But you've got a shield there, which doesn't work against the sun, unfortunately. You can activate that by pushing the left control key, but you've also got the thruster, which you can activate by the left alt key. So obviously this is not very fun by itself. But the gravity was obviously working. Once I start thrusting, I'm just flying through space like a satellite. And if I somehow fly into the sun, which is actually, now that I'm moving around, is actually kind of difficult. Oh, oh god. Oh, there we go. Nice little explosion effect as you do so. So this is pretty basic. How do I, oh man. I'm not actually sure how to get straight back to the menu. Oh, and it's frozen. I might just quickly reload the page. So basically it is very basic. This is just designed to be sent off to developers, but it definitely has historical importance in the American development scene, since Randall Reese was the very first guy to develop for the Genesis, and he made this, and it was really the first thing developed in America, and then sent off to all the American developers, and it was basically their first example of developing on Sega Genesis hardware. So it's definitely really interesting, even though it is very basic. But as you can see there, I mean, I started talking, so it's really just been playing by itself. The 2-player mode, obviously there's means 2 ships can fly around at the same time, and you can try and shoot each other, because obviously you can't shoot the sun. And then you can activate the shield like that to, try and defend yourself. But as you can see down there, there is a life bar that regens, so obviously you can't just spam the shield the entire time. And I'm guessing you probably can't shoot while the shield's on. Yeah. Got some sort of... not really sure what I've done there. I've locked the key in somehow, so... Maybe it's not the best emulator out there, but it is very convenient to quickly check out something like this. So anyway, that's the end of this Sunday Quickie. Hopefully you found it interesting. I highly recommend checking out the complete video by MVG. It only goes for about 10 minutes, but it's very fascinating. And it's cool that he got to be a part of gaming history and preserving it. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.